from just outside the perimeter of Atlanta, Georgia, where we needed more than an Alexey to defeat a galaxy.
It rhymes. It's cute.
Yeah, adorable. It is the Five Takes podcast, and we are back.
We're back, baby.
Back like Ted Lasso, apparently.
Hey, season 4. Who had that on their bingo card? Also,
at the end of season 3, they did tease it.
Apple left it open.
Apple put out a still image of Roy, Coach Beard, and Nate with a little caption that read, "Smells like potential." So I immediately thought, okay, there's going to be some sort of Roy spin-off with everything.
Well, that's what everybody thought of, was that it was going to be some sort of continuation. There was lots of fan fiction about, or fan, rumors. They thought that it was going to be a potentially kind of new series, but a continuation of the exact same thing. And they were going to call it Richmond FC, or it was just going to be called the Greyhounds or Racing Ground. I heard, or racetrack. The racetrack. That was another one that I heard. Again, all really great ideas, because you have to have somebody to continue, to carry the torch, to pass the mantle to. So, and it was, everybody thinks that it's going to be Roy and Coach Beard. And of course, Rebecca still owns the team, and, Keely may or may not have been a character, because she was kind of on her way but on her way in. But I think that those 4 and Higgins,
of
those
course,
5 were going to be kind of the staples, and those would kind of continue. But it's interesting, because I think that the first 3 seasons, it really could continue as something.
It could. It could be
really good, because there's so many other avenues that they could go into with those particular characters. It doesn't all have to centralize around Richmond FC.
Lots of potential.
And I think that was some of the writing, which is the way that they were going to do it. So they said, the first 3 seasons of Ted Lasso were about the football club, and now we have these other characters, and they started delving into, they started doing a good bit of that in season 3, and I think that it leaves so many beautifully wonderful avenues. Could be amazing.
Apparently, options have been exercised on the entire main cast. Now, to what extent they're going to all feature Jason Sudeikis?
Does this include Jason Sudeikis?
It does. I think it does. But again, to what extent?
Right.
Because I feel like
does Ted help Nate with a Zoom call?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Because his story, for me, and that's what made it so beautiful, is kind of done. And I love when series do that. The story is over. Yeah. Please don't water it down. This thing you made was beautiful. And I know we never want beautiful things to end. In life, in story, movies, sport, whatever, But that is what makes beautiful things and valuable things beautiful and valuable, because they're finite. It's limited. If it was just indefinite, there's no value to it, because when is it going to end? Endings make things valuable. And to know there's too many series out there that, boy, you should have ended that one 4 seasons ago. I could list
If anybody else out there would like a perfect, in my humble opinion, and with my extensive knowledge of the film business, but up to interpretation as to my particular tastes and likes and dislikes. If anybody else would like another perfect 3-season complete series, perfect, in my opinion, and that would be The Newsroom.
Oh, Newsroom, 100%. Good shout.
Okay.
Good shout.
So, perfect.
Yep.
Absolutely perfect.
Beginning,
middle, wouldn't change a thing.
Yep, it's
on that show.
Outstanding.
Wouldn't change a thing. It's 3 seasons.
Watch that one.
Couldn't continue it. It is absolutely perfect. Okay. Anyway, moving on.
So anyhow.
But so we're back like Richmond FC, but we're not so back in but
it is nice to be back talking about soccer. Hi, hello everybody. If you're just listening on the audio version tonight, it's just me and Kat tonight. Jennifer's not feeling so hot. So she's taking the night off, but we're here to talk a little Atlanta. A very little Atlanta, probably other things. This is a very strange time to be talking about Atlanta United with the EPL starting back up, because, fortunately this weekend there's a lot of joy for all 3 of us. We all support different clubs in the EPL. I am Chelsea, if you're watching the video version, this is the first time I've been able to wear a shirt with some semblance of pride in a long time.
I don't have my Liverbird my ball. I have a Liverpool ball that I usually keep right over my right shoulder, and I was showing it off to my daughter the other day. So that is currently
Liverpool for Kirsten, and then
but I am a Liverpool. I am a red supporter. So we have a red versus a blue.
And then
generally speaking, that's the way it was.
And then to complete the Americana, we have a white.
Yes, and then we added
with
a
Jennifer
spur.
with Spurs until they kill her, and Lord knows they have tried. Even though I think they will have, I think they're going to win something. Right. I really do.
We had
with
the lion.
Postecoglou.
We had the lion, the Liverbird, and then we added a cock.
We did. So it's just strange. You know, it is an Atlanta United podcast. But we all have other interests and things, and we weave that in from time to time. And with the Premier League starting back up, and we try to bring as much joy to this show as we can, and it's been hard.
It is. And it's been hard. The need,
so we're going to take a little bit of that joy from the EPL, and we're going to just thread it in.
We're gonna Salt Bay it in a little bit because our need for joy in respect to footy again was so
joy has been a
needed.
theme this week in a lot of
it has. I know.
Joy back.
It was so needed by everybody in the footballing community that I hope that most of and I would assume that a lot of our listeners and a lot of the Atlanta United community as a whole probably watches some other
leagues,
whether it's locally, whether it's
elsewhere.
The NWSL, whether it's
tell
abroad.
Me you do not base all your hope and emotional well-being on this team, because that's rough. Find you another nice little team out there that to have some success. God bless you if you're an Everton supporter. Boy, that's tough.
Yeah, sorry, Everton, but I just really think it's your turn to go down. I kind of think that it's just the way it's going to be. I can't say it.
Since Carlo left to get milk and didn't come back, they have just...
He went for cigarettes.
He
told
went
him
out
that
for
they
his
would be
cigar.
A family again
I'll be
when
back.
the
He
Angels
never
win
came back, because that's the last time Everton was... Look good.
If anybody else is my age group, I hope you may or may not have just caught that reference, but you may not.
You know, that should tell us all about the importance of a coach. Maybe it's not 80-20 as Garth says. 80% players, 20% coach. But anyhow, that's the last time Everton was truly good. And you're right. This might be the year, because every year they're just barely hanging on. Last year, they were able to embrace this us against the world mentality with their points deductions, and credit to them. They stayed up when,
they did.
That's incredible.
I mean,
but
they had a big deficit to overcome.
But boy, they're starting out rough. So, tough for them.
And there's it's a pity too, because the players on that squad, it's not their fault.
No, and it's not the fans' fault.
Their front office
it's just
broke
shambles.
The rules.
Just a mess. And ownership, a mess. They're a mess.
There's some really good talent. There's some really good talent on that squad. And if they know what's good for them, if any of them have contracts that are expiring, get out while you can. Take any contract that allows you to get out of a dying squad, because it's going to have problems, and it's not going to be one season.
Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately for Everton, I feel like this is going to be a 3 to 5 year problem, and it's going to take a while to get back from it. I don't mean a 3 to 5 year.
I think it's going to be a 3 to 5 year fix once they start the fix. However that looks, and that hasn't started yet. I'm not saying they're going to And and I'm not saying they're going to spend 3 to 5 years in the championships. They might spend longer. It depends on when, like you said, when they get down to zero. Once they hit rock bottom, they can go up. That hasn't happened yet. No.
You know, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Sunderland. You know, Sunderland had to go all the way down to E2 in order for them to start coming back up again. And they still haven't gone back up to the Prem yet. But I think what is so important for us why we're going to talk about the Premier League, and not just Premier League, but other footy, and why we've talked about footy abroad, is because when you're desperate for that feeling that you're not getting at home, you're going to look for it anywhere that you can, you know?
Yeah.
And we're not cheating. We're not cheating on our MLS squads.
It's that guy and girl meme looking behind him going, You know.
Yeah, you're looking at when he's looking at the tush of the other person. Yeah, it's us walking with our MLS team, looking at our Premier League team as they walk by.
Yeah, pretty
and
much.
now that it's here,
which I haven't been able to
do.
Bit
of that joy again.
I haven't been able to do it all. I mean, today.
No, you haven't.
I did not have us putting 6 past Wolves.
No, and Madueke getting a hat
Nani
trick.
shitting on them on Instagram and then going and backing it up with a hat trick. And Chelsea fans chanting, Nani was right, your town is shite. I didn't have it. It was really nice, and it's about time. I hope we can continue it because God knows we have talent. Chelsea has talent, hundreds of millions of billions of dollars worth of talent. Yeah. The problem has been over the past, since the ownership switched, since the Bowley era, is that it's not a team. It's just very talented individuals.
Really talented players.
I don't know. Maybe it's coming together now because Wolves are not a terrible team. Okay, they're not.
No, they're not. But they are having a little bit of difficulties getting
Fair
going
enough,
because
but
basically they traded away their 2 best players, in my opinion. Yep. One of them to you.
Pedro Neto is one of
on Pedro Neto, by the way.
60-some million, and it's one of our better signings that I've been really happy with. Moises Caicedo for 140 million is ridiculous.
Ugh, get the fuck out of here.
Mikhailo Mudryk for 110, absurd.
Yeah.
Enzo, I think there's potential there, and maybe that'll start to get unlocked, but I still think it's an overspend. I could go on and
Nick Jackson needs to.
Nico did the business today.
He scored a goal, but he also
scored a goal and had that beautiful assist to Cole. The players we've signed that I think have been the best, obviously Cole Palmer, and he signed a 10-year deal. Build around him, clearly. Yes, City was mad to let him go. But thank you. We'll take him. Pedro Neto, I think, is going to be outstanding. Yes. And I think we botched the deal with João Felix, getting him on loan for too much, and then loaning him out, and then buying him back for like 50 to 60 million. The business end of João Felix is dumb. But I liked him when he was here on loan. He didn't do a whole lot.
I didn't dislike him either. So I was surprised that he got loaned out. I didn't understand that.
Give me a player that I think wants to be at the club. Little chip on the shoulder.
Maybe.
Something to prove. Got some talent.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are we back?
Are we back? Are we back, baby? You guys are continuously spending so much on players,
every
right?
Year
into complete and utter contrast on Liverpool. Okay. Yeah. The only business that Liverpool has done so far on this within this trade window here, and the deadline is in 5 days. The only thing that we have done is set up deals and lost them, and this is something I was going to mention earlier, or we've sold players.
You're trying to get a new goalkeeper in as well. Not to replace Alisson, but
right. No, Mamadashvili. It's a very long last name. He's from Georgia, much like our Saba. He played for the national team during the I think that's just Euros and absolutely displayed
setting some stuff up for the future.
Unbelievable stats in this guy. Yeah. Now Alisson is only 31. Mamadashvili is 23, so still 31 is still very young for the.
Brad is pushing 40, and he might be here when he's 40.
But what's interesting is that Liverpool has done zero as far as bringing in players because the Mamadashvili deal is not 100% yet. It's not done. He is not at the club yet. We've sold players. We traded Fabio Carvalho for 30 million. We sold Van de Ven or Vandenberg for 35 million. We have freed up some more money. The Zubamendi deal, this was something I was going to mention earlier, the Martin Zubamendi deal. He wanted to stay in Spain with his family because they are settled there and he doesn't want to move. Okay. Respectable.
But
this was something I was curious about in regards to Giroud, right?
Yeah, we were talking about this before we hit the record button proper.
If you're going to sign a
players, signings for clubs, and the various factors that go into a decision like that for a player outside of the money.
Right. One of them being, are you going to relocate? Because, Zubamendi not wanting to relocate his family to London, that's a completely different country. Mm-hmm. And that's a 5 or 6 year, maybe longer move. If you're moving to England for Liverpool or anything else from Spain, that is a huge cultural shift. That's everything that you have known to grow and love, including your family and your children. That's a huge change. But for somebody like Giroud coming to stay in Atlanta for, let's say, a year, he's not even going to move here. No. He's going to come stay here. He's going to get set up at a hotel or something.
It was never going to happen.
Really, a really nice Airbnb for a year. He might do the same thing in LA. But if you're going to settle anywhere, LA is not a bad place to settle if you've got money.
Yep. And this is
it is a very interesting thing to conceive of. Like baseball players, for instance, they've got 162 game season, right? Well, you got 80 away games, 80, home games, that's a 9-month or 8.5 month season. Do you relocate or do you go back and forth?
I understand.
That's a much bigger prospect if you're signing a long deal with a club to whether or not you're going to relocate. And that's a big one.
Yeah, this is our...
And I do think it will put a damper on who we sign, potentially.
Yeah, this is our segue.
Alexey Marinchuk,
for instance, into MLS speak now, because...
lived in Italy, and now you're coming to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yay.
Because, look,
guess what? We have winter. Welcome.
This is where Atlanta United finds itself.
It's not Minnesota.
This is where we find ourselves now. We are not the shiny new toy anymore. Far removed from that. When we had the excitement, the flair, the success. Mm-hmm. And that was attracting top.
And the money.
We still have the money. Money's not an issue. Let's throw that out.
Do we though?
Yes, we do. Money is not an issue. But we were attracting top talent for more than just the money. Money has always been there. But we had the newness, the excitement, that new car smell, and the success to go with it. And to some extent, we still have some of the success in terms of the transfer and the ability to get players to where they want to go. And that was how we were going to attract South American Football Players of the Year, and so on and so forth. Maybe Pity's not the best example because it didn't go that great here, but I'm talking in terms of attracting names.
Sure.
Atlanta's going to have a much harder time doing that now because that success did not continue. It came to an abrupt, screeching, crashing halt. And now you've got teams like, the Galaxy have always been there, but LAFC, who are having tremendous amounts of success and kind of are the new standard of the league. Got Miami with Messi and the lifestyle there. These players, the Giroux and Reyes, and insert other world-class stars if they decide to come over here, insert their names here.
7 out of the starting 11 at Miami.
Right. Whoever else decides when they want to come over. Those decisions matter. Lifestyle matters. Quality of life matters. I'm not saying the quality of life in Atlanta is bad. It's not. I love Atlanta. I love my city. I love living here. But for an aging-ish superstar... Yeah. Where are you going?
If you're Olivier Giroud and you're offered
and you've been there, done that, won it.
If you're offered a 2-year, $15 million deal in LA, or a 1 year,
I don't know what his salary is, but whatever
speculating.
It is. Whatever the number is.
I'm spitballing. It has nothing to do. I'm just making an example. If you're offered
whatever money,
2 years, 2 years, $15 million. Okay, that's it. Just. You can play, you come out, you wave your little hat.
I don't think it's 15, but whatever. It doesn't matter. It's the lifestyle.
That's not my point.
It's the coast.
What my point is,
it's the weather.
If you were offered a 2-year, $15 million to play for the Galaxy, or 1 million, or 1 million, 1 year, $20 million in Atlanta.
Well, LAFC.
I'm still going to LA.
Yeah, LAFC.
If I'm Giroud.
LAFC for sure.
I'm going to take the 2-year, $15 million in LA.
And there's nothing Atlanta can do about that. Atlanta's not LA. Atlanta's not Miami.
No.
And we're going to have to compete against that. And it seems like, the club's going in a different direction now anyhow, where we're not looking for that. We are going to try to find good players, Marichucks of the world, but not the names, not the excitement. And I don't know. It feels like this club needs a little bit of that, but it's probably not going to happen in that way. And it's just where the club finds itself right now. Listen, the game yesterday, it's not all bad. I mean, I think I was remarkably positive in the takes, considering it's just another loss. And we don't have time for losses anymore if we want to play any sort of postseason ball here. But we are still decidedly mid, as mid can mid. We're all these players, all of them, and I don't mean disrespect to any of them. There's nobody in this team that's just a game changer, a star, somebody who teams have talked about, marked, look out for this guy. He will turn the game on its head. We have some good players who have some very good moments, but nobody who's going to come in and get an assist and a goal on their debut. That was a glaring difference when Reyes and Marichuk came on at the same time. Maybe it's unfair to compare the two, but we don't have anybody like that on this team. And I don't know if we are ever going to in the near future,
well,
at least immediately.
I don't think it solves any problems anymore. I'm gonna circle back to what I said in 2022, because then the only thing we needed was somebody to replace Joseph, and it was before Gigi, right? So we were looking for a striker. When I say it's the only thing we needed, I say that loosely. But that's what one of the things that we were seriously lacking was someone who could fucking just go out there and score goals. A killer. Right? That's it. That's the only thing you have to do.
Yep.
And that would have been a solution potentially. It's just to sign a striker, just somebody.
And it was
flashy,
for a
fun,
time, sort of.
Yeah, but that's not what we need now. There are so many things that we need now, and we know more. And maybe that's a good thing that we didn't just go out and spend 15 million on one player for one season, and we'd be right back to where we are now. It would have been fun.
I think it might
maybe 2023 would have been more interesting.
I think it might be a harder thing, because now what we're looking for is like collective ball. Everybody's got to be contributing, and everybody isn't right now, which makes
down the field.
The Miranchuk signing not strange at all, but the promotion,
not at all.
But the promotion of him is where I'm taking issue with this club, because they have been branding him as
with a single solitary bit of that.
Everybody, they've been branding him as the savior of this club.
And yet nobody fucking knows who this guy is. And I'll tell you what, and I know that it's a take, but he came on last night and everybody went, cool.
Yeah.
He's there now.
We can start with that. Or actually, you want to thank Mason Mill real quick before we hop in?
We should absolutely thank Mason Mill.
All right, let's thank Mason Mill. I don't know if you've heard of them, if this is your first time listening or your 100th time listening. We're never going to stop talking about them. Do
you even lift, bro? Like, come on.
Do you even get adjusted? If you don't, you should. And you should go to Mason Mill, best chiropractor in the town, in Atlanta. Well, specifically Decatur off McConnell Mill Drive. But, I mean, Atlanta's 20 minutes from Atlanta. It's all Atlanta. Around. It's all the same thing. Give them a call, 404-321-0082.
Anywhere in Atlanta takes 20 minutes.
That's correct. But they are pretty conveniently located. They're easy to get to. We got Dr. Cohen there. We got Dr. Miner. And they're making a bunch of new changes and stuff. They've been doing a lot of new staff training and putting out all these little videos about cool things that are coming to the practice, playing it a little close to the vest, but I think there's some cool stuff coming that way. I know Dr. Cohen at the practice has some remodeling ideas in store for changing some things up in the interior. I know they've been thinking about
busting down that
knocking
wall,
some walls down.
Into the next floor for quite a while. Not a bad thing at all.
No, not at all. More space, great. More clients, more doctors. I'm all for it. Anyhow, they've been riding with us for a long time. We appreciate them. And, honestly, even if they weren't our sponsor, and before they were, we were patients. So trust us when you say you can trust your health, which is the most important thing you have. And we get that. To these people, they will take very good care of you. You can also book an appointment online too. That's right. MasonMillChiro.com. All right, so you were saying number 5. Miranchuk. Yeah. And look, him coming on didn't dramatically change things. I wasn't expecting that. But the problem is the club is basically saying, expect that. And that's where I start to have an issue. We did get to see some of his quality. Sure. Looks like a pretty sweet, well-calibrated left foot. That should bode well for service into the box in the future.
He's that central midfielder that we've been lacking.
You know what I see happening? Nobody on the end of it. Nobody on the end of it.
Right.
Good balls in, and nobody really on the end of it, apart from maybe Gregerson finds himself in an opportune moment. Right. Saba's there.
So that leads me to my singular take of the entire match. Yeah. My take, myself, this is what I saw. Go. In a word, vision. Vision. Okay? Okay, so we make these... Okay, so it's like you make the run down the right, okay? Yeah. Let's see. Gregerson passes it up to Lennon. Lennon starts dribbling around a little bit. He sees Saba make that run. Saba makes that run. Now Saba's got the ball. Now what? Who's making the next run? What comes next? What comes after that? Where is Saba going to hit the ball? He's, in all likelihood, if we've seen anything, Saba's going to hit the ball into the box with a good bit of pace. So there needs to be 3 or 4 big bodies somewhere, one on the near post, one on the far post, and one at the top of the box to receive that ball. And if that person doesn't get the ball, what's after that? What's after that? And what's after that? And it's funny because you watch somebody in contrast, like I'm watching Liverpool today, that exact scenario, they don't even have to look at each other. They're making no-look passes, back heels, around the back. They're not even looking at each other because the person who's making that pass knows if I kind of do this weird back heel around my back of my leg and kind of pass it around, kind of behind me, and I can get around a defender, he's going to be right there to receive it. And as soon as I pass it to him, he's going to receive it. I'm going to run forward so that he can pass it back to me. That vision, that football IQ, as you always call it, we don't have it.
Not really.
And they so often, I don't know how, we have no problem getting the ball down into the other third. We had this problem a few years ago, mostly during the pandemic-y time. We were talking about, okay, we get the ball into the final third and then we don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, we're not creating...
It's not
doesn't
just
look like we know how
chances.
to create them, really. Like good chances.
It's
shots, but not shots on goal.
What are we doing? You have to see the play develop in your mind. Did you watch The Queen's Gambit?
Yeah, of course.
You know how she just sees,
I understand what you're saying.
The entire match, every single thing, every single attack that we have from where it begins, whether it's Guzan punting it long or if we're playing out of the back, every single attack has to have pawns and rooks and queens, everything moving into place, or you're going to just get stifled at the end and nothing's going to fucking happen. And that's what I'm seeing is like, we can make a couple of pretty good connections, Saba to Lennon, or on the other side, Mayumba maybe even up to Jande or something like that. But we can't see past 2 passes. What's next? What's after that?
Yeah.
Somebody else. Okay, Mayumba to Jande. Then what?
Yeah.
Jande into the midfield. Then what?
It does look like we're figuring it out on the fly.
Yes, and that's not our football IQ has dropped to nothing.
Well, Alexey's supposed to have very high football IQ, but one player
We're gonna
can't
have Saba and
it.
Alexey.
Yeah, I know, right?
Great.
Who actually have
and
pretty decent vision.
And I'm sorry, but if there was one person on the pitch that I think needs to be replaced, it has to be Jande Silva. Secondly, Tristan Mayumba. Sorry, it's not working.
No, full on.
It's not working.
I'm fine with both of them leaving, and
Jande puts on a clinic every single match on how to give the goalie practice, because all he does is shoot it directly into his arms. Every match.
This is going to be painful for me to say, and Troy McIntyre from All Stripes also agrees with this point.
Yeah.
Might want to add Brooks to that list. he wonders, and so do I. And this isn't slander. Like, this man has done a lot for the club, and his commitment is not in question at all. He's played for the badge, and I appreciate everything he's done. But we both kind of wonder if a fresh start for him somewhere else may be a good thing for him next season, because his slump has remained a slump, and it's been
a while. It's
more than a couple games.
Yeah.
It's more than a couple mistakes.
His
core, what made him so valuable to us, has
his consistency was what made him valuable.
Yeah.
And I don't know how often I either roll my eyes or say physically out loud, where was that ball going, Brooks?
I know. You can hear it in my tone.
He misses by 30 or 40
I'm not happy
feet.
to say any of this. I really like the guy. One guy who has earned it, and I think anybody who was giving Brad grief. Look.
Holy shit.
So, last year and year
was
before,
that his first blocked penalty?
Second.
For us?
Well, I think third total.
In a regular season match?
I think third total with the club.
Right.
2 this year.
Yeah.
And beyond that, he's shown he's still doing it.
He's fine.
He hasn't been the problem. He's made great stops. More importantly, just his experience, the way he commands his box, his distribution, all those things that Cohen just doesn't have. He still looks very raw, very rough, which is a little concerning for me if he's going to be the heir apparent, because he's not an academy kid. He has played Champions League ball.
Yeah.
Cohen, I was expecting him to come in with a bit more confidence, authority, assuredness. And look, I know it's tough. He's not in rhythm. You're getting minutes here and there, getting thrown into an Open Cup game, getting thrown into a Leagues Cup game, getting shooting galleried at you. I get it. But he looks shaky, and has looked shaky in the areas we need of a goalkeeper. He does not communicate like Brad does. He does not look comfortable with the ball at his feet. So, if we want to take something positive out of it, I think Brad has earned. I'm fine.
I think more importantly, Brad has.
Take the option for me right now. Take the option on him for one more year.
Sign him one more year, and if you know what, and if something happens, we still have him.
And if he does the business next year, hey, great.
Right, and if it means that Cohen becomes ready and Cohen can move, this is exactly what I wanted. Was to have Brad train the new guy and have him still be there and get paid for it, for fuck's sake. I don't want him to just be there as a coach. He needs to be there. He deserves it, right?
Yeah.
But if he's not ready, Brad can still fucking play. If anything, Brad has proved he's more ready to continue to be that guy. So let's go. Shouldn't even be in the conversation, except anything other than good. So
totally.
Moving on.
Heidrich Harden, sorry if I've mispronounced that, from Footy Mob, fully agrees with everything we were saying. He would also support a transition season where Brad backs up a top tier goalkeeper. If that's Cohen, fine. If it's somebody else, we get on loan or needs minutes, ahead of a World Cup in 2026.
Sure.
Yeah. Right now, and I did not have that on my bingo card. I didn't. Cohen was coming in. We all thought this was the transition season, and that Cohen would be playing regular games by now, and it just hasn't happened because Brad hasn't lost the spot, and it's his to lose, and he hasn't lost
his step.
And given the club man that he is, it's not going to cost much to keep him next year.
No,
he's not going to do that to the club. He's a club man.
No.
And we'll still be able to have
200. Give him $200K. Maybe.
That's a little. Give this man a little more bread, but yeah.
I don't know what the going average is.
I think he's still in that.
He's not playing. Even if he now becomes the backup.
I think his salary right now is still like in that 500, 600 range. So if it's 300,
that's what I'm saying. So if he's now the backup, if for next season, if he's the backup for 2024, give him $250K and let him ride the bench for a whole season and train his.
I think you start it until he loses the job. It's his job. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
No, I completely agree.
That's kind of where I'm at with
it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that just further proves my point that Alisson Becker is not going anywhere. He certainly does not need to go
31.
He doesn't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Unless he wants to come here.
What, 41,
if he wants to come here, I'll take an Alisson.
Yeah.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah, no, there we go.
You know what? For what it's worth,
Hugo Lloris is at LAFC, right?
Yeah, but much older. So, but for what it's worth, Allison, also very good-looking man. Also a very good-looking man.
Yes, yes, he is, and Brazilian, and very tasty.
Yep. All right, so look, back to number one. Right. It took a while, about 20 minutes, but the team did look pretty good in transition moments. Yeah. And Rob said they were emphasizing that, so got to be happy with that. I'm trying to pick some positives out here and not just...
Yes, overall, and I'm going to say this, and this is going to, if anybody remembers from 2020 when I started saying things like this, I'm going to say it again. This was, I hate almost saying it. I hate uttering it, but I'm going to say it anyway. This wasn't a terrible loss. If anything, it really wasn't that bad at all.
Not terrible. Expected.
We held, and I know it's one of our takes, but we held the best team in the West
scoreless
to 75 minutes of 0-0 ball. That's a good game. That's a very, very good showing. And then you had their arguably their best player and their newest international signing come in and score 2 really decent goals.
Yeah, it wasn't the glaring.
And we had a save penalty. So
also that.
If you were able to,
and also for what it's worth, that penalty kind of starts off of a Brooks, not glaring mistake, but
but it wasn't a huge gaffe as normal. But
we avoided those. That was nice.
If you remove, and usually this is kind of something that I'll say at the end, but I'm actually trying to say it right now before we get into more takes. If you remove this game from this season and all of the things that go along with it, this was not that bad of a game. In fact, it was pretty good all the way up until they scored 2 goals against us.
If we were even just slightly higher in the table, you would look at this game and go, okay, you know what?
Not that bad.
We went on the road to the top in the West.
That's right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
And their two best players, or their best player and their new international signing, scored decent goals against us.
But at the same time,
this was not a bad loss. This was not.
I hear you. No, it wasn't. Yeah. But we do have to recognize at the same time how far the club has fallen, where we have to say, well, that was competent.
And it's the same way I felt in 2020 and 2021.
But we have to be real, and we cannot compare ourselves to 17, 18, 19. Those days are gone.
We can only judge what's in front of us. Remember?
And it was pretty decent.
Right. The only thing that we can do right now, because nothing is as it should be, we have to judge every game one at a time. Yep. And this game was not that bad, all the way up until 75 minutes. Which is pretty good. It's tough. When you think about it like that, you wish that you could have held on for another 15 minutes. Sure. But hey, they played pretty well.
Well, look,
for 75
both the goals
minutes
that were chalked off, I'm not happy about that.
Also too.
But I'm happy to see them both come from areas that we have been trying to improve on. Transitional attack.
Right.
Okay.
You have to take away
restarts in play, be it free kicks, corners, throw-ins. Use those moments. Okay. Stay on side, please. That'd be nice. Yeah. But, all right. Okay, I see that. There's some potential there. At least we had that. Okay. So, yeah. I mean, I hope we're not coming across as sunshine pumping, but just being a realist. Number 4, and we're at the end here. Look at this. Fortune has been like the rest of the kids this year.
This is what I was going to say. Man of the match for me, Brad Guzan, because he kept us in it.
Low-key.
All the way up until 75. Low-key. Jay Fortune. Absolutely.
Needs to be playing higher up more often if he can. If anything,
they were almost on par together. If I had to have dueling mans of the match for me, it would be the two of them.
Give this man a goal.
One defensive,
give this man a goal. He's had
he needs it so bad.
He's had good looks. He looks.
He's got a kick, doesn't he?
He does, and you know what? He looks that dangerous player. Like just I don't know if it's kind of like how Saba addresses the ball and approaches the ball with that energy, that full tilt, full-blooded commitment. Too. It looks like that. And that kind of player, I think, attracts the eyes, of defenders going, oh.
Yeah, and the kid is growing up. He's growing up in front of our eyes. And I do think this was a very good match for him. Mm-hmm. I think it was a very good look for him.
Maybe this will be a good year for him. Maybe next year.
He's seeing that a little bit. This could be potentially an opportunity to continue to play him that way. Unfortunately, like they did say, though, with Marinchuk coming in, that meant Jay Fortune had to drop back as far as the formation. Yeah. But you know what? Maybe Rob and his ultimate, decision making as it goes right now, because I can't imagine with signings coming in or people going out that Rob is the only one pulling the strings as far as formation. And lineup as far as the way things are set up and probably even subs even on a data. I'm sure there's other people that are kind of combining. I think it's probably a big collaborative.
Well, it's a bit odd for Rob because it's not his team. It's not going to be his team.
No, I know that. And I want to, and before we completely get out of here, there is a very interesting set of Reddit comments from their Garth's pre-match comments that this.
Oh, Lord have mercy. What are they?
Calm down.
Okay.
We'll get there.
Okay. All right.
But I think that if there's a way, we were definitely playing in a 4-4-2 kind of feeling, and I think that worked. You could see it. I think that it did work. So how do we line up if Marinchuk is starting and Jay Fortune is starting? How does that line up? Do they play those two centrally? Does Jay maybe play outside? In those positions.
Well, those two combining and playing off each other, I don't think Marinchuk has the speed to be that quick-footed string puller in the midfield. Or
does that mean that Jay drops back to the bench and becomes more of a super sub like he has been? I don't think so. I think that he potentially could have a spot in the starting 11. I don't see why not.
He can be that. He can be that true 8. I feel. I mean, look.
Yeah.
The way the past few years have
gone...
Why
the fuck not at this point?
I'll say this for Atlanta. The way the past few years have gone, if you're a kid and you're looking to grow up fast, I got a club for you.
Yeah, no shit. If you're 16, would you like to come play in MLS?
And you're interested in a quick grow up?
Yeah.
This is where you want to be, because we have asked that of all these kids. I mean, the past few years have all grown up. My God, Caleb's in Strasbourg, who got a win today. Good for them.
Yep.
You got a draw last week. Caleb getting regular starting minutes over there. Still a kid. We have asked a lot of the youth of this team, and for the most part,
I think
they have been the most impressive aspects of this club. Not the signings, for the most part.
In the last 4 or 5 years,
yeah, they're the ones that
since 18
get the most praise from our end. That we find ourselves
absolutely.
Like if we need something positive to talk about, it's the kids.
It's the kids.
And not just for like pats on the back, like, oh, they look good. Actually contributing.
Yeah.
In some ways, in some cases, more.
Right. So it's really so because of the fact that we're not looking at the season and what's on the horizon anymore. We really can only deal with this as a game by game basis. I did find some of Garth's pregame comments, and now I'm going to say I was looking through things and I found this. This is one person's interpretation of Garth's pregame comments, but I think some of these things are interesting. They had evidently they had a DP deal fall apart late. Sounds like the selling team wanted to wait longer to see if there were better offers. So there are still things churning. Garth says that 2 more DPs are coming in 2025. We kind of already thought that and knew that. Midfielder,
I think we're
striker,
in for a
we kind of already
pretty
knew that.
hard reset in the offseason. A lot of goings and a couple comings.
Right. He never specifically said that we would be waiting until summer to get the second one, but that might be the case. So it's 2025. It still feels like it's probably going to still be building. And it's very difficult for anybody who has been around since 2017 when you saw the early success of this team to keep on waiting, which
because we had success out the gate and he
acknowledged the frustration of the fans and noted that we haven't won a playoff series in 5 years and that needs to change. No fucking shit, dude.
Did he at all acknowledge the fact that you can't say we're back, baby? Like, if you're asking
not at all.
For patience.
No, because no one has called him on that. I would really love to have somebody, one of the people, right? Because it's about the fans at this point. I want somebody out there with a wee tiny widow microphone that's just in the press conference that says, "Hey, Garth, What did you mean that we're back? You fuck ass. You know?
Yeah,
so
look, if you're going to ask for patience, then...
So Mike Conti asked him about the international roster spot and whether they might be able to sign a free agent.
Yeah.
That's the alleviate whatever.
Yeah.
Garth said that they're always looking at options to improve the team. So it's just more fucking fodder.
Yeah.
He said that they're trying to sign players that are good and versatile enough that they'll work with any coach rather than only signing guys that fit a particular style of play. And that is also because what was the other thing he said about a coach? He said that we might have a coach for next year, but also said Rob is still under consideration. How do you feel about that? No, I don't think so either. I don't think that we're there.
I don't think
Rob is there.
I want a hard reset. I love Rob.
Right.
I love this man. Right. I want a hard reset.
Does that mean that Rob goes too? Yes. Does that mean wipe the entire coaching staff?
I kind of want that for the better of this club. It's not disrespect to Rob. Rob has done it all for this club. He's has done everything been there.
We've asked him to do and more.
And he is going to have a career. He is, and a club will be lucky to have a man like him. Absolutely. Of his qualities, caliber, his character. I need a hard reset. There is something wrong.
I think so.
Fundamentally with this club that we can't get right, and these players
it's starting to get
just
get
like
deep
for Brooks.
He
needs something fresh. Sometimes you just need something fresh. You need a fresh start for everybody, for the benefit of everybody.
Yeah,
and that's what I want. And I think we need to get a coach in here who's going to really stamp their authority on this. I don't need somebody who's learning and growing. I'm not opposed to having somebody that's been primarily MLS or has a lot of MLS experience, like a Savarese, like Gio, who's still without a job, who's on MLS 360 all the time.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be opposed to that. In truth, I need somebody that culture builder, character, some success, and that will really just take command, take control, take no shit, and really leave their fingerprints all over a team. I need that. Not someone who's got a style. This is how I want to play. This is how I see the game. This is what we're going to do. Does that work for you? If it does, great, I'm your man. If it doesn't, I don't want to work here. I don't want somebody who's trying to figure it out still, which was what Gonzo was.
Let me ask a question, and I'm going to make a statement, and then I'm going to ask a question. Remember how a couple weeks ago I was talking about coaches?
Yeah.
Or a couple pods ago I was talking about coaches, and I was talking about, as much as I hated to say it, people like Jim Curtin, right? They're there. They've been there. He's been with the Union for 6 or 7 years or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
probably second
and
longest.
And I was wondering about that. I was like, I wanted a coach that we were going to get behind, that we were going to, and Jennifer pointed out,
franchise man, tenure.
Yeah, the franchise man. Yep. But it's like, hey, Union were shit when they hired Curtin, and they stuck with him, and then they got good a little bit, and then that's why they've stuck with him, and he's part of that culture. I miss and wish he had never left, and that's Tata Martino, because I think that was the cultural man. I think he was the franchise man that we could have built around. He could have stayed at this club for 10 seasons.
I'm not sure he would have wanted to, but...
Maybe not. I understand.
But I understand the point
I'm talking about what he brought.
Yeah.
And what we could have built around him. He could have been the guy.
So next guy
for a very long time. And my next question was, because he's at Miami, and if he doesn't stay at Miami, would you want him back if he ever came back?
No, the culture's different now. The times are different now. But I do want to that guy, whoever that guy is next year, that comes in next, I want him to be the right cultural fit for this club, this iteration of it, this version of Atlanta United, that really wants to mold it into insert name ball, right? This is we define this next era of Atlanta that is clearly defined, that still kind of fits with the I don't want someone to come in and completely change how we play, because we're still playing the same kind of Atlanta United way, But I need somebody with
like
success
Frank
and authority.
came in and tried to change everything to his vision, and that didn't work. It needs to be a combination of what has worked as the Atlanta United culture and a young enough man young enough in his career or young enough in the culture to be able to bring that together and say, I see what you have. I'm going to bring my flavor of ball and we're going to combine the two. Coincidentally, actually, I'm going to equate that again to what I think Arne Slot has been able to do so far at Liverpool, because he has said
the slot machine working well so far.
The slot machine is working well so far. I think that he has done. He said, you had 9 years of Jurgen Klopp who made an unbelievable team out of Liverpool, right? Yeah. I'm not going to change that. And that ultimately, too, is not what he was looking to do.
No, you don't.
That's another reason why we haven't made 6 or 7 signings. We don't need them.
And he's got to be his own man, too.
I know. But what he has said, we're going to take Jurgen Klopp ball and I'm going to hybrid it to Arne Slot ball. And all he wants to do is improve on what already exists. And I'm going to say this. I have noticed a difference because I obviously watch Liverpool matches very, very, intently and with a lot of scrutiny and with a very sharp eye. I've already noticed a very distinct difference in Slot ball than Klopp ball. And I like it. I do like it. It's much how we were able to notice the difference in the U.S. women's national team. The play, the mentality, the difference, the change. It's the same players. It's the same talent. But just taking what already exists and being able to, adapt it and move it into something that works and that works culturally. It's the whole, like you said, it's the whole culture of the team. And we haven't had anybody come in to do that.
No, we need a coach to come in.
Pineda wasn't enough.
No, he wasn't.
He was too soft-spoken. Yeah.
I don't want to bully, but I need somebody.
Heinze was too much,
Too much on that end, right?
And Frank de Boer.
Both of them. Heinze, too far to this way. Pineda, too far to the other way.
And Frank de Boer was back there.
Yeah, somewhere not even on that timeline. We need somebody sort of in the middle, but somebody who can look at what had worked well for previous versions of Atlanta United, and what can work well now. You don't want to trash all that and say, okay, we're going to do something completely new. That's not what I'm asking for.
I want to wait until next week to ask Jennifer this question, because I want, and I'm going to pose it to you, and I'm actually going to pose it to the people listening to this podcast.
Sure, you want to wrap up with this then?
At this point, I want to know, and please put your comments on the page, Instagram, what have you. And I want this to be realistic. But who is your dream coach for this team? Okay. Now, I mean it. I mean, use your mind. Don't just say, "Oh, I want Jurgen Klopp," because as much as I would love that.
Well, when you say dream, okay, so it's got to be somebody that's...
It's got to be both. It's got to be
available, would be available, would be interested in MLS, could be afforded, but
based on what we just said, not just I want Jurgen Klopp because he's my Liverpool guy and I think that he could do everything.
So you want a realistic name.
What would actually work? And it could be somebody who already is on a team, by the way. I'm not saying actually somebody that's available. Oh. I'm saying, who do you think could do what we just said? Anybody, alive or dead. Who do you think could come in and do what we just said for this team? So let's not answer that question tonight, because I want Jennifer to answer the question too. And anybody who's listening,
drop us some names.
Drop us a comment. I want to know what you think.
No, you don't have to write a novel about it, but a few points of name and why.
Just a couple. And
of
takes
the why
on who you
could
think would be that guy.
Style that they like to play, culture, but whatever their qualities that said person has, let's hear it. And because I think I disagree with Garth a little bit when he said that coaching team players 80-20, coaching 20 players 80. At least not right now for this team, because Atlanta United is not City. They are not Liverpool, where I don't want to say you could just throw in any old coach and expect success.
No, they'll be okay. They'll rely on their talent alone.
The success they've had, it's not running itself, but it's all right. and Atlanta's not. You got Mo Salah. You're all right.
If you put an interim coach out there for 6 months with Liverpool, they'd still win half.
Yeah, that's right. They're still going to Champions League. Yeah. So we're not there yet with this team. No. Don't know if we ever will be. So I think in our situation and in this league, I think a coach probably matters a little bit
so much
more.
No, I think it matters a lot. So I think we're in the 50-50 range.
So
because we need it, because we don't have it.
Yep. And the players clearly need it because they haven't been able to do it on their own with a previous coach, with an interim coach who's beloved.
Right. I'm tired. I am tired of throwing shit at the wall and seeing what's going to stick. I'm just tired of that. I would seriously go, I'm going to say this out loud. I would go another whole losing season if it meant that we were going to redo everything, like you said, and then go on a run of 3 to 4 seasons where we're really, really competitive.
God, I don't know if I can do it.
Maybe we don't win MLS every single time, but maybe we're competitive.
I don't know if I can do another year.
You know what I mean? But I mean, look at what Cincinnati has done in the last 3 seasons now. They have had 3 seasons of very competitive ball.
I don't know if I can eat my cereal with a wooden spoon. I just don't know.
But they haven't won it all. But
the other thing that
we haven't been competitive since 2019.
And the hard thing about that, and we've talked about it before, is that we were never branded as such. This was compete for every trophy team, not a wait and see team. From day one, this is a compete
day one
for
it was
every trophy team. And when we're not even doing that, that's what makes it harder. A little bit easier for Cincy to accept that because they weren't marketed and branded and told these things. Even now, back baby, all this grandiose speak, big club. This is what we are. I don't want to get away from that, but I don't know if I can wait another year.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I know. I hear you.
Anyhow,
I do.
Drop us some names on the Bird app, on the Facebook, the Instagram, wherever. Email 5takesonthefivestripes. gmail.com, wherever you want, or if you see us walking around anywhere and you just want to tell us, send us a text if you have our numbers. However, give us a few names of, not just pie in the sky, but like some pragmatic choices who you think would be a good fit for this club, and a couple reasons for why.
Sure.
And we'll save our own answers for that on the next episode. Who do we play next? Who is it next?
Oh, dude. I got to look, don't I?
Is it LAFC straight away? I don't think so.
Oh, I hope not, because that would be a shame.
I don't think it is.
Oh, no, we play Charlotte. We're away at Charlotte.
Away at Charlotte.
Yeah.
They're above us. They're above us.
I know.
They're not a bad team.
I'm not judging any of that anymore.
No, I mean, they're not a bad team. They're really not.
And then we have and then we have Nashville.
Mm.
And by the way, that September 14th match, that is the unified home match, which I will be attending.
Unified won last night, by the way. We should shout that out.
Yes, they did.
3-2.
They won 3-2.
Very good.
They did very well.
Very good.
So anybody who's listening, is still listening up to this point, put that match on your calendar.
There you go.
We're playing Nashville. It's an East Coast rivalry, if you will, if anything at all.
Yep.
Plus the unified match is afterwards. Please
come out,
think about staying around.
I'm telling you,
for the unified
it's
match.
good football.
It's a really fun
It's good
time.
football.
And these people, these players, men and women, need our support, love our support, and they deserve our support.
They play with a lot of passion. They play with a lot of full-blooded commitment. They really do.
And it's you get another whole game out of it if you get to so you get to stay after. So please, anybody, if you're thinking about the next home match, come and stay for that.
Yes.
I will absolutely be there.
Excellent. I will be there as well.
Anybody who wants to come shout us out, because everybody shouts out Glenn and Jennifer when they see him. I will be there too.
All right.
If you see me, hunt me down. I am not nearly as socially awkward as Glenn is. I will take a picture with you, whatever you like. I'll call your cousin and wish him a happy birthday from the 5 Takes. So mark that on your calendars, and we will be there.
Social awkwardness. It's going to be fun. All right, y'all.
That's right.
Thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. Thank you for going to Mason & Mill and continuing to support them and Atlanta United Fan TV. It's It's always appreciated. We will be back. When do we play them? Saturday? Sunday? When are we playing Charlotte?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, next week.
I don't know. I didn't even look at the date.
That's where we are with this club right now.
Right.
Lord have mercy.
8:31, whatever it is.
Yeah, Lord have mercy.
All right.
All right. So we'll be back for a pod after that one. God, please let it be a win. Please let it be a win, right, so we can have something positive to talk about that, and not just the EPL side of things. That's right. All right. We'll be back in a few days' time. Until then, y'all be good. We will be back.